Imagine an employee who doesn't wait for you to tell them what to do. They don't just sit there, blinking, waiting for a prompt. Instead, imagine a system that wakes up at 11 p.m. while you're fast asleep to write code, organize your messy files, and plan your entire next day.
It's really the difference between riding a bicycle and driving a Formula One car. One requires you to pedal for every single inch of movement. The other just needs you to steer. The engine does all the rest.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Friday, February 13th, 2026. And it feels like the world has changed quite a bit in just the last few months with AI. We're not really talking about chatbots anymore. That whole era feels quaint almost.
It does, doesn't it? We're so firmly in the era of autonomous initiative now. The shift has happened. We're moving away from that time where we had to constantly poke the AI to get a result and, well, into an era where the AI is the one nudging us.
And to help us wrap our heads around this, we're looking at a guide by Max Ann titled 5 Best OpenClaw Use Cases for 2026. It focuses on a tool called OpenClaw, which some people might know it as ClawBot or Moltbot, if you've been tracking this space for a while.
Right. And specifically, we're going to break down 5 of these blueprints that, the top 1% of users are actually implementing right now. The goal here is pretty radical. It's about turning AI from a reactive librarian,
Someone who just fetches a book when you ask?
exactly, into a proactive chief of staff.
Let's unpack that core philosophy first. Reactive versus proactive. It seems like a subtle shift in language, but in practice, it changes. Well, it changes everything about how you work. I mean, most people listening are probably still used to the chat paradigm. You type, it types back.
Exactly. Think about the last few years. You used ChatGPT or Gemini. You sat down, you typed a prompt, and you got an answer. If you walked away, nothing happened. The AI didn't really exist until you engaged with it. It was passive, a tool in a box.
And now?
Now, the tool has legs. Max Ann uses this great analogy in the source. Traditional AI is a librarian waiting behind a desk. You have to walk up, ask for a specific book. OpenClaw, though, is the employee who notices the library is a mess, organizes the shelves, and puts the books you're likely to need right on your desk before you even walk in.
That implies a level of agency we're not used to. And honestly, it implies a level of technical complexity that might scare some people. How does it actually do that?
So it connects to your internal tools. It sees your files, your calendar, your to-do list. But here's the technical nuance that really matters, and this is for everyone worried about the cost. It uses high-level models like Claude or ChatGPT to do the thinking, but then it uses the Codex CLI to actually execute the code.
Hold on, let's slow down on that.
Yeah.
You said it uses Claude to think, but Codex CLI to act.
Yeah.
Why split the brain? Why not just let Opus do everything?
That's the key insight right there. It's all about cost and precision. Think of it like this. If you ask a genius philosopher to assemble IKEA furniture, they might overthink the instructions, write a treatise on the nature of a shelf, and charge you a fortune by the hour. Opus is that philosopher.
Yeah.
It costs a lot to run, and it's kind of slow.
Right.
Codex is the mechanic. It's cheap, it's fast, and it understands rigid instructions perfectly. OpenClaw's brilliance is that it's the translator between the philosopher and the mechanic. It keeps your API bill low, but your intelligence high. You use the genius to plan the architecture and the specialist to lay the bricks.
That makes a lot of sense. But there's a psychological barrier, though. If you stop prompting and start relying on the system to initiate, how do we trust it? I mean, how do we trust it not to go off the rails? If the mechanic starts building a wall across my front door because the philosopher had some weird thought, I'm in trouble.
Right. It's about setting the parameters once and then letting the autonomy run within those guardrails. It's not total anarchy, it's
Right.
delegated authority.
So let's get into the specifics. The first blueprint Max Ann describes is something called the morning brief.
This is the game changer for the start of the day. It's 8 a.m., you haven't even looked at your phone yet, and OpenClaw delivers a mission control briefing.
I have to play devil's advocate here. I already have notifications. My phone screams at me the second I wake up. I've got email, Slack, news alerts. How is this morning brief not just more noise?
That is the exact trap most people fall into. Notifications are demands. There are other people asking for your time. This brief, it's a shield.
A shield against what?
Against the chaos. Instead of seeing 50 unread emails, you see one summary saying, 48 of these don't matter, just handle these 2. It effectively gives you attention span bankruptcy protection every morning.
Okay, so what's actually in this brief then? It's not just, here's the weather.
No, thankfully not. It's deeply integrated. It pulls from your actual task managers. We're talking direct API integrations with Todoist, Things 3, or Microsoft To Do. It lists what you need to do, but more importantly, it lists what it did while you were asleep.
That's the key. It's reporting on its own labor.
Right. It might say, I saw a competitor published a new article on this topic, so I drafted a response for you. Or, hey, I see you have a new camera arriving on your calendar today, so I generated 3 content ideas for an unboxing video.
It's connecting the dots between all these separate apps.
Exactly. It uses the Brave Search API to pull in real-time web results, too. So it's not hallucinating the news, it's checking the actual web. It creates this feeling of momentum. Instead of waking up and thinking, oh God, what do I have to do today?
Yeah.
You wake up to a list of, here's what's already in motion.
So it essentially replaces that first hour of scrambling to organize the chaos of the day.
Exactly. You start with momentum instead of chaos.
I can see the appeal of that. Momentum is everything. But let's ramp up the difficulty. Summarizing emails is one thing. Writing software is another. This brings us to use case number 2. The proactive coder.
The night shift. This is for all the developers or the solo entrepreneurs listening. You set OpenClaw to wake up at 11 p.m.
When you go to bed.
Precisely. It monitors your business logic, your repositories. It looks for pain points. Maybe it notices a workflow that's clunky or a repeated error in the logs. And it doesn't just flag it. It writes the code to fix it.
Okay, but fixing bugs is a little vague. How does it know a bug exists if I'm asleep? Is it just guessing?
It's listening to the logs. Imagine this relentless auditor. It's scanning your terminal outputs or your server logs for recurring error patterns. Let's say you have a memory leak that crashes the app every 24 hours. You might miss that pattern because you're busy shipping features. OpenClaw sees that pattern at 3 a.m., traces it, and writes a patch. It's not creative work, it's janitorial work. But it's the janitorial work that burns out developers.
And I can hear developers listening getting nervous. It doesn't just push code to production while you're dreaming, right? I mean, waking up to a crashed server because the AI tried to help is a nightmare.
No, that would be a disaster waiting to happen. The safety protocol is crucial here. It opens a pull request.
Explain that for the non-coders listening.
A pull request is basically a proposal. It's the AI saying, hey, here's the code I wrote. I think it fixes the problem, but I will not merge it into the main system until a human looks at it and clicks approve. It builds the feature, documents it, and sets it aside for you to review. It does not deploy live code automatically.
That is a vital distinction. It's doing the prep work, not the final decision.
And again, it's using that Codex CLI we mentioned to keep the costs down while it churns out code all night. The experience described in the guide is just, you wake up, pour your coffee, and see a notification that says, hey, I built that document viewer you mentioned yesterday. Here's the code, ready for review.
It feels almost vulnerable to let an AI judge your workflows overnight and try to fix them. It's like having a cleaner come into your house and rearrange your furniture because they think the layout's inefficient.
A little, but waking up to finished solutions cures that fear fast.
I imagine it would. Let's talk about memory. We've all had that brilliant conversation with a chatbot or even a colleague on Slack, and then it's just gone. It scrolls off the screen into the void.
The digital graveyard of good ideas. This is where the third blueprint comes in, the second brain.
Now, second brain is a buzzword we hear a lot. Usually it means taking a lot of notes in Notion or Evernote. How is this different?
Well, OpenClaw actually builds and maintains a Next.js application for you.
Okay, tech translation, please.
Think of it like a private website that runs on your computer. It looks like your own personal Wikipedia, or maybe a clone of a tool like Obsidian or Linear.
So it's a standalone website.
Yes, and as you work with the AI through the day, it proactively tags content. If you brainstorm a video script, it files it under scripts. If you have a long debate about marketing, it creates a daily journal entry summarizing that entire conversation. It expands concepts into their own document.
It's structuring the unstructured.
It creates a perfect memory of your collaboration. Max Ann mentions that if you review these automated journal entries at the end of the week, you find so many gems you had totally forgotten. It turns the AI from just a chat interface into a real knowledge management system.
But why does it need to be a separate app? Why not just keep the chat history?
Because chat history is linear. It's just a long scroll. A second brain is networked. If we have a conversation about marketing strategy on Monday, and then I ask about Q1 goals on Thursday, OpenClaw links those two concepts together in the background. It's creating a web of thought. So ideas don't just scroll away and die.
So this moves beyond chat history into actual structured knowledge management.
Right. It turns fleeting chats into a permanent, navigable archive.
We have two more fascinating blueprints to cover, including one that involves scouring Reddit and X for trends. But first, a quick break.
We are back. We're diving into the shift to proactive AI with OpenClaw. We've covered the morning brief, the night shift coder, and the second brain. Use case number 4 is the afternoon research report.
This one's interesting because it addresses that midday slump. Usually in the afternoon, you're just trying to get through your tasks. OpenClaw uses this time for continuous improvement.
What is it researching? Is it just looking up trivia? It's researching you, in a way. Or rather, how to help you better. It might analyze your GitHub activity and say, hey, I noticed you commit code in this pattern. Here's a system to optimize that. Or it might do a deep dive on a topic you mentioned in passing, like machine learning, and present a summary.
So it's not just doing the work, it's looking at the meta work.
Exactly. And it might even propose self-improvement routines for itself. Like, I've noticed I'm not answering this type of query well. Here's a new prompt structure I suggest we use. It keeps the AI evolving with you. It prevents that static relationship where the tool never gets better than the day you bought it.
It's interesting that it researches how to improve the relationship, not just the work. It feels a bit like having a co-founder who's constantly asking, how can we do this better?
It's self-optimizing, making the collaboration smoother every single day.
And finally, the fifth blueprint. This one has a specific name. The last 30 days skill.
Yeah, this is a custom skill created by a developer named Matt Van Horn, and it's for the content creators, the marketers, anyone who needs to know what the world is thinking right now.
How does it work? Because usually market research means spending 4 hours on Google.
It conducts parallel research. So it hits the Reddit API using an OpenAI key, and it hits the X, formerly Twitter, API using an XAI Grok key.
So it's listening to the global conversation. But what am I actually seeing? Is it just a spreadsheet of tweets?
It's more like a heat map of emotion. It looks for emerging trends, the posts with the highest engagement, and the real pain points people are complaining about. Instead of you doom scrolling for 2 hours trying to get a vibe of the market, it hands you a report. And that report says, here's what people are angry about, here's what they're excited about, and here are 3 content angles you should probably create.
It removes the noise.
It replaces anecdotal evidence with data. If you're a product builder, you're not guessing what features people want. You're seeing what they're begging for on Reddit. Instead of reading 500 comments to find out people hate the new iPhone battery, OpenClaw just hands you a single paragraph. Sentiment is 80% negative on battery life. Users are specifically citing the drain during sleep issue.
This seems like it automates the intuition part of market research.
It replaces hours of doom scrolling with a single report of what actually matters.
Yeah.
You get the insight without the brain rot.
It's fascinating to look at all 5 of these blueprints together. We're seeing a synthesis here. We're moving from the concept of an assistant, someone who helps you, to an operator, someone who runs things for you.
That is the big idea. The technology is already here. OpenClaw, the APIs, the prompts, it's all available today in 2026. The barrier isn't technical anymore.
It's human.
It is. It's the user's willingness to give up that little bit of control, to say, okay, I trust this system to plan my morning, or I trust this system to write code while I sleep. The top 1% aren't just better at writing prompts. They're the ones brave enough to design systems that work without prompts.
And that's the challenge for everyone listening. You don't have to do all 5 of these tomorrow, but maybe try one.
Start with the morning brief. Just see what it feels like to wake up to a plan instead of a blank screen.
Exactly. If your tools can work while you sleep, why are you still doing everything manually when you're awake?
That's the question.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.